Welcome to Saints Happy Hour podcast. We never skip a drink day.
Budrich wants to know how the doctor's doing.
That ended.
Now grab a drink and enjoy the show.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. As always, we are brought to you by Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. I got Kevin with me. Thomas is going to edit this later in Poland, as he always does. He's magnificent. Find us on socials wherever you can. Hit that like button in YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. Put a comment in the algorithm, Kevin. It helps. It doesn't cost you anything. You put a comment in the algorithm. YouTube is like, oh, people like this video, and it gets more service. It gets us more clicks. It helps us make money so we can do more fun stuff with the show. Maybe we can get Thomas out of that Polish jail that he's living in. Lots of fun things can happen if you support the show. Patreon.com/Saints Happy Hour. Go there, click on the link, get 2 months for free. So today, Kevin, I will admit I was sparked by this. I was sparked by this because friend of the program, Ross Jackson, me and him we were just talking on Twitter, you know, and he did his free agent, people the Saints should go after. And he had a couple of people that were like making $8-9 million a year. And I was like, Ross, like, where are the Saints going to get this money? Last year, the only team that spent less on free agents was Dallas than the Saints. Like, the Saints didn't spend any money. So, like, I was just, you know, kind of chiding him. I was like, Zach Martin, like, the Saints are going to pay him $9 million. They're going to go get Mikhail Becton from the Eagles and give him a 5-year deal. Like, they're not going to do it. At least maybe they will. And Ross Jackson, he can thunder dunk on me like I thunder dunked on the nerds about the salary cap. He is more than welcome to do that if the Saints go out and spend a bunch of money on middle class and hire free agents. But I just look at it, Kevin, and I just look at what the Saints did last year. They signed Willie Gay, 1 year, $5 million. They signed Chase Young, 1 year, 10-ish million, depending on how the incentives went and all that. And the rest of the dudes, Lucas Patrick, Cedric Wilson, like all minimum dudes, right? And like they didn't spend no money. And so I think they're going to do it again, right? They got to get under the cap. They got to find $47 million, even if they redo Derek Carr, which makes it simpler. It isn't like they're going to have a ton of money. And it isn't like, right? It isn't like the Saints are in a position to where I feel like, Kevin, that they're going to be in that chase mode where they were last year, where they were like, hey, we're going to get Chase Young, or maybe we're going to get Justin Simmons. We're trying to win. We think we are competitive. We can go and win this division. We can add a little piece here, add a little piece there. And if we borrow from the future to get 1 or 2 guys at this price, we'll do it. It's worth it. This year, I don't think they're going to be doing that, Kevin. I think they're going to be spending not any more money than they did last year for agency. You could, if you wanted to convince me, I might be willing to buy it, that they're going to spend less. Like they're not even going to go after the Chase Young, the one sort of splurge item for, like, they're not going to, if you want to say they're not even going to do that. So I just believe the free agency is going to be boring, unfortunately for us, but we're going to bargain shop today. But what do you think of my theory that the Saints ain't spending no money?
I mean, that sounds very reasonable. Wasn't the expectation, or wasn't the thing that we had sort of been talking about, and predominantly you and Andrew, that, okay, it seems feasible or more feasible that the Saints would keep, you know, like, just manage your expectations. You got to keep Carr around, possibly, so that way, it's easier to dump him and move on in 2026. This guy will eventually come off the books. This thing will happen. This will happen. And if the Saints can kind of just ease, not slam on the gas like they've been doing in years past, they'll be looking great or good in 2026.
Yeah, well, the thing is, and I think people, my family, everyone's not feeling well, sinus infections and all that. And I was talking to people on Twitter, and I got discombobulated for a minute with the cap, which you can. It happens to all of us. Where I was saying one thing about June 1st, but what I meant was that it was restructure, right? If you cut a guy and you designate him June 1st, it doesn't help you cap wise for this league year. You don't get the money and the cap credit until June. So, like, yes, the Saints, if they cut Derek Carr and they designate him a post June 1st cut, yes, they get $30 million in cap space, but they don't get it until June. It's like a post-dated check, right? So they still, even if you cut.
So you're saying they could cut him tomorrow from the mystery time that we're recording this. They could cut him tomorrow.
And it doesn't help.
Designate him for June 1st.
And it doesn't help.
But they have to wait until June 1st to then feasibly sign somebody.
That's right.
Free agent.
It doesn't help them for the $47 million. So, like, they cut Carr, they're going to get $30 million in cap space in June, but they still got to find $47 million right now. So the thing is, for the Saints, I just believe that they're going to try to split the baby when they do the cap. I think they're going to try to redo a bunch of dudes, Cam, Taysom. You could redo Juwan Johnson, or you could sign Juwan Johnson. You could extend Chase Young. That can create you a bunch of cap space. You could redo Demario Davis. Like, they can
redo.
They could tack on some void years. But I believe what they want to do, Kevin, is that when you restructure Carr, they can get as much as $30 million of space from Carr.
Let me.
I don't think they want to do that.
What's the deal with Ramczyk? Isn't he retiring?
He's retiring. Yes, he'll retire.
So when does that money come off?
That already happened. He'll retire, and then they'll have a cap charge for him next year. But he created a ton of space for them this year because his cap number for this year, I want to say, was $29 million. And now it's like 12. Yeah,
it's 12.3. So there's no getting around that.
There's no.
Okay, so 12.3 for him. Jesus, Ruiz 12.2.
Yeah, like, it's not. There's no good answers for
okay. They've got to figure out a way to be working on Cam, Taysom, McCoy, Demario,
and you take. I think, and what you do is, I think you don't take the full $30 million renegotiation from Carr. You take about like 10 of it, 15 of it. But that's not the main thing of this podcast. The main thing of this podcast was Saints are going to have no money to spend in free agency.
Right.
I don't believe. And I think they're in a full rebuild. I think they're going to trade down. I think we're going to do the stuff.
You better trade down.
We're going to do the stuff we want them to do. But here's my point, Kevin, is I was listening to a podcast. I was listening to the Athletic Football Show with Robert Mays and Derek Clausen, a good podcast. And they were talking. They were going through the last 10 years of Super Bowl teams.
Yeah.
Every team. And they went through every team, and they were like, what are these teams doing free agency? Because we always talk about, can you build a team in free agency, or do you have to do it through the draft? Can you really put your team, go from like mediocre to Super Bowl champion in free agency? And the answer was not really. You gotta already have a good team, and you add a couple of finishing touches. But the thing that they had consistently in that podcast is those teams that won the Super Bowl, all of them had 2 or 3 guys where they're like, oh, they signed Michael Orr for 2 years, $7 million, and he played 1,000 snaps. Oh, the Eagles, oh, they signed Zach Bond off the Saints. They paid him $1.5 million. He's all pro. And I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is, even if we're shopping in the bargain bin, even if we're shopping at the open box table at Best Buy, Kevin, for these free agent guys, you can find guys that hit. And I'll give you an example from the Saints. We won't say his name, but the Saints signed a safety in 2009, 1 year, $3 million. First team All-Pro. I can't remember his name. He may have done horrible things after he was a Saints player, but that's my point. They signed Mike Bell, the running back, right? For peanuts.
Right.
700 yards rushing. right? So you can find guys. Will Harris for the Saints, great example. This year, started 13 games. He wasn't great, right? He wasn't great, but he had an interception and he was decent. He was okay. He wasn't a disaster. The thing for the Saints is, Kevin, I think when they go in these bargain bin guys, they gotta aspire to be a little bit better than Lucas Patrick, right? You got to be better than Lucas Patrick. You got to be better than Cedric Wilson. Like they got to hit on one or two of these bargain bin guys we're going to discuss.
Yeah.
And like what you want is you want to hit on one of these guys and they go and they sign a big deal with another team next year and you get the juicy comp pick. But they need to hit on a couple of these guys to improve the roster. So I have a couple of bargain bin guys. Do you want me to go with my first one?
Yeah, you go with your first one.
So it's not cheating, and it may be at this point, my fascination with him may be a little uncomfortable because the Saints tried to trade for him in 2003, didn't. I wanted them to look at him last year in free agency.
Wait, 2003?
They almost traded for this guy in 2023. Sorry.
Okay.
Almost traded for him in 2023. I thought they would look at him in 2024. I don't think they did because he only signed a 1-year, $3 million deal with the Patriots. That's Josh Uche. He's an edge guy. Now, in the 4-3 that the Saints played, he's kind of a weird kind of fit. But, Kevin, as we talked about on the main show, if the Saints go to the 3-4 and you got the 3 down linemen and you got at least 3 linebackers and you got the 2 linebackers that stand up and you move them around and all that, you can go a little lighter with those linebackers maybe. Josh Uche could be a guy. And here's the thing. I know people are probably screaming at this thing, oh, his sport track value is way higher than you said. You said in this thing you and Kevin were doing, you weren't going to spend any money. I will bet my good arm, Kevin. People said last year he turned down a contract of 3 years, $15 million, 2 years, 3 years, $15 million, $11 million guaranteed. His agent said he turned it down to go back to New England for $3 million. Kevin, I'm telling you, that is a goddamn lie. There is no way on earth Josh Uche turned down $11 million guaranteed to go back to the Patriots for $3 million. Willie Gay left the Chiefs to come to the Saints for 1 year, $5 million. There's no way.
Wait, Josh Uche, I thought Josh Uche was on the Chiefs.
He is. He's on the Chiefs. He went back to New England last year, 1 year, $3 million. And they traded him. So I'm just saying he's a guy that was a couple of years he was pretty good, a couple of years ago. And like the Saints could get him 1 year, $3 million like he got with the Patriots. Maybe he gives you a little something at edge in the new 3-4. This is the kind of shopping that we're doing in this show, people. We're not going big items. Me and Kevin, the rules we set was you got to sign 2 guys. You can't spend more than $5 million on each. And
I thought it was 3.
But one of them can be $9 million, but you can't spend more than that. And the first 2 can't be more than 5. So I think I get Josh Uche for $3 million and I can help him at edge. I'm taking a shot. I'm at the Best Buy. His box is open. I'm looking at it. Maybe, it's not looking good, but it's potentially iPad. The charging port might be a little foobar. But I'm going to take a shot because it's 80% off. That's Josh Uche. That's my first bargain buy for the Saints.
All right. My first guy is Malik Harrison, inside linebacker with the Ravens.
Ooh,
I like the idea of getting a guy from the Ravens defense.
Yeah.
The number that I see attached, and then I will double check this on. I will double check this with. Hang on. I want. Shoot, they don't even have this bastard listed. Hang on. So let's see. PFF doesn't even have him. Dang it. Okay. Well, he is on Spot Track. And his the dollar amount that I see with him in this column says 2.742. So
Yeah.
so 2.7 million,
Yeah, and you need linebackers.
and you're going to need linebackers.
And linebacker's a weird market, right, Kevin? It's like linebacker, I feel like it's like safety. Some years teams are like, oh my God, linebacker's the new hot thing. We're gonna spend. And like teams go crazy. And other years, like the Saints jumped the line and was like, we're gonna sign Kurt Coleman. We're gonna get ahead of all the safety spending. We're gonna sign him for 1 year, like $6 million. We're gonna get ahead. We're gonna get our guy. We're gonna get him at a cheap price. And then like a month and a half later, like Honey Badger was unsigned. And you're like, you could have signed Honey Badger for less than what you paid Kurt Coleman. So I feel like linebackers, that kind of market, you never know how it's going to be compared to other positions.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you, as you look at this, I'm going to go with my second one. And this one was hard, Kevin, because we have three names, and my thing is, I wanted to edge for the defense, but my second pick, I wanted to I was trying to think of like if you're bargain shopping, and you could translate this to real life, like when you're bargain shopping, there's certain things it's really hard to like really bargain shop for. Some things in life you just gonna have to pay for them, right? But there's other things like you can really get good deals. And I was trying to think of like, what's a position where you might be able to get a guy on like a 1-year deal and like they really pop. They really hit it. And you're like, man, he's really good. We might have to keep him after 1 year. So my thing was guard. I know Lucas Patrick was kind of a disaster. He was injured. He was with the Bears. He wasn't very good with the Saints. So I was looking at a guard, and I was trying to find a good guard that has potential, right?
Brother, if go ahead, if you say any, I've got like three names that I'm looking at right now. So if you say any of those three,
you're done. Here's my thing. This is going to horrify Saints fans. Saints Twitter will have a collective aneurysm if the Saints would sign this guy, because Kevin, the Saints have had the injury apocalypse the last couple of years, especially on offense. So signing a guard that had a week 5 season-ending knee injury, not the most exciting thing in the world. But I think Will Hernandez for the Cardinals at guard, he was playing really good. It was a contract year. So I think he's a former second-round pick, so he's kind of got the pedigree of talent, right? I think you roll the dice with him. He might be willing to do a 1-year deal. His market's probably not going to be great because he hasn't been great with Arizona, right? He's kind of up and down. But I think he's young, second-round pedigree, run blocking grade, 71, positive, PFF, he's kind of mediocre, but this is what we're shopping for. And I just feel like if the Saints could get a guard that is, if you could get a guard one level up from where Lucas Patrick was, that'd be successful. I'm not saying it's great. I'm like the meme, the guy like, ooh. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's great, but it's like, like you spackle your wall, man. You got a hole, you spackle it. It's got the white spot.
Yeah.
You're gonna paint it over. You're gonna paint it over eventually, sand it down, make it look nice. But you can't have a giant gaping hole in your wall. That's what this is. We're just gonna spackle it up a little guard with Will Hernandez. He's gonna spackle it. That's my second pick.
I don't know if you saw, but I got up and walked away as soon as you said his name, because Will Hernandez was, in fact, one of the names that I was looking at.
Great minds think alike. Or horrible minds, depending.
Yeah. So I am going to go with my other Well, now hang on. Now I can't do that one because I am now looking at his number on Spot Track. His number on Spot Track looks a little different. And so I think for that, that's not good. So I was thinking about James Daniels, who also had a season-ending injury early in the year. He tore his Achilles in week 4, but his Spot Track number is too high. So I'm going to go looking a little bit. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. Damn it. Well, that stinks. No to him. Man. Yeah, these guys all look a little after a rat. Yeah. So I'm going to go with another guy who has had some. Jesus, can't go with him either because of this Spot Track number.
Well, I mean, if it's close, you can make a case that it's not as.
No, it's not. It's not. Brandon Scherf of the Jaguars.
No, yeah.
Was making $16.5 million, or is supposed to make $16.5, and old PFF is like, oh, he could get a 1-year deal for $6 million. And I'm like, I don't think so, Tim. So let's go Dalton Risner.
Ooh.
Dalton Risner out of from the Vikings. He doesn't even show up in the PFF top 100. All right. Yeah. So Dalton Risner, he's under 30. I think he'll be 30 by the time the season starts. 6 years of experience. Come on, kid, pull up. And he's been with the Vikings, I think, this entire time. And he's only, 2.4 million average salary here. So again, doable. Second round pick in 2019. So again, another doable contract. Like, I'm not even interested in the one contract worth $9 million. I'm literally going guys that I can get under, $4 million or less. Like, because our game, I get that our game we're playing is 3 guys, but I'm not Mickey Loomis or somebody talking to Mickey Loomis, and we're not trying to figure out, okay, we've drafted this guy and this guy, or we're looking at drafting these kinds of guys. So that means we got to help fill gaps with free agency. So
yeah. No, I think that's a good pick. The Saints, because of Foster Moreau being hurt on the last play of the game against Tampa, that sucks horribly. And Juwan Johnson is a free agent, and if they don't get him to an extension, he's going to still count like $7 million against the Saints cap, which is that's the Mickey Loomis way. Him and Chase Young, they're free agents, yet they will count pretty significantly against the Saints cap. So I wanted a tight end, but the thing is, like, even these crummy, like, blocking tight ends, they still get, like, even Foster Moreau for the Saints got a decent deal. Like Tyler Conklin for the Jets, like he got a 3-year, $24 million contract 3 years ago. So like, I don't know, like I would look at him and you look at the numbers and like, yeah, he's a sturdy tight end, but like, is he going to get like 2 years, $13 million from someone? So like, I don't want that. If I'm going to spend for the Saints, that's not my one that I would pay. So the one that I like is, and he's a fun name to say, and I think he would work good if the Saints play a 3-4. Teair Tart. He played for the Chargers. He's kind of a troublemaker, and he's bounced around. He's got like a lot of 1-year deals. He's got drug, I believe he's had like some suspension issues, like the performance enhancers, not like serious trouble, I don't believe. Kevin, if they go to 3-4, they need bodies, right? They need bodies to redo to redo this defense. And like, you can't, like, as much as we're like trade down, accumulate picks, you can't do it all in the draft. You gotta get body. So I like Teair Tart. He's a guy, like, he's one of these guys, like, when he's right, he's gonna do it against the run. Like, he's a run stuff guy. He's not a pressure sack guy. But the thing is, if you get Bresee and he can get to be decent against the run, and you get Tart in there, you might have something. And I just like, I think it's interesting. The other position that I was thinking of going for, and I may even add, is like, if they go to this 3-4, Kevin, the thing that I've been reading is with Staley and other versions 3-4, like, teams play 3 safeties. They like, that's what you do. You play the safety, right? And the safety can kind of help you in coverage, but also help you be a little bit stouter against the run, right? And so teams go 3 safeties. So if you go 3 safeties, you got Honey Badger, and you got Honey Badger, Will Harris, Howden. Like, that isn't the greatest thing. Like, you might want to bring in another veteran safety. So my pick here was Justin Blackmon for the Colts. And the reason I think him is he can do a little bit of everything, can do everything, but not great at anything, right? So he was a guy. The thing is, with the safety market, I'll just say it, like, you never freaking know. Like,
yeah,
people listen to this podcast, they could be laughing at me saying there is no way they're going to sign Will Blackmon.
Julian Blackmon. I'm sorry. Julian Blackmon. Jesus. We said Justin Blackmon. Then we went to Will Blackmon.
Yeah. Julian.
And Julian
Blackmon. So, I mean, I look at him and I think he's a gettable guy for the Saints. I mean, he had last year, 1 year, $3.7 million. Like, and he's low on free agency lists. He barely cracks the top 100, but he's a guy can do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that he was my last one. Who's your last guy?
So my last one, I am assuming that maybe part of the deal, maybe we get some kind of if the Saints can do something with Cam where Cam says he's done, and there's some kind of a deal like the Ramczyk deal where part of the money is now, part of the money is next year. Mm-hmm. You save some money that way. So, and we're going to be drafting, we're going to look, we can draft a defensive end, but I want somebody that can still come in and be a body. Mm-hmm. And depending on what's going on with Chase Young, work in there with him, work in there with rookies, because I'm thinking it's going to be young guys anyway. So I'm looking at, and assuming our boy gets his defensive coach hire, who I'm kind of, lukewarm on.
Staley for the 3-4.
We bring a familiar face.
Oh, I like this.
Morgan Fox.
Oh.
Defensive end from the Chargers. He's played for 8 years, technically 7 because he was out for 2018.
Okay.
But he was an undrafted player with the Chargers. His average salary is like 3.6.
Okay, yeah.
So again, small number, doable, but it's a veteran presence on a team that you're going to have to get, like you're going to be presumably trimming fat of other veterans. You're going to need other guys in there. Again, this is an undrafted guy who has managed to be in the league for 8 years.
That's impressive.
There's clearly something with him that's it's either on-field talent. Obviously, it has to be some kind of on-field talent because he wouldn't have been hanging around. But it's got to be he's a good locker room guy. Maybe he's a good glue guy. He just fits in.
And
all that kind of stuff.
And you gotta have people.
Right.
If you're switching the defense, you gotta have people like hey, we brought in this guy. He can say,
played the 3-4.
Yeah, he can be, hey man, when coach says he wants you to do this, this is how you do it. This is what you need to do. Like lead and kind of be a coach. Like, I hate to use the cliche, but like a coach on the field. You need people that Brandon Staley at practice can be like, do what he does. That's right. This is like, you got to have people that know how to run the
defense. Talk to Morgan, or Morgan, talk to this kid that we drafted from, talk to this Penn State kid. Talk to this kid from Bama. Talk to this kid from Ohio State. Talk to whoever.
Yeah, and the final thing for me is it's not a player that obviously we picked our three, but I think a couple of things to watch with the Saints and the cap issue is two players. And it's interesting, and we'll talk. I want you to talk about it too. That's why I got you here. Juwan Johnson. Start with him. It ain't that Juwan Johnson is great. I ain't going to pretend that Juwan Johnson's great. He had one really good year with the Saints. They paid him, and he's kind of been, man, I've screamed how many times in post-game shows this year, Kevin, where I was like, get him off my TV. But here's the thing. They currently don't have any healthy tight ends except for your son under contract for next year. So they need tight ends. So Juwan Johnson, he's counting $6.5 million against the cap either way.
Yeah.
So if you could get him to reduce that number to like $2 million and you could stretch it that way, I think he's a guy. I'm being hypocritical because I kind of knocked him all year long. I think I kind of want him back. I can't believe I'm saying it. I want him back because we need tight ends, and we need it. Like, having him back would be good for the cap. I can't believe I'm saying
so. Here's the thing. If we get him to agree to some kind of deal where he hangs around, and then Taysom comes back, and then Foster Moreau comes back.
Oh, you're being positive. I like that.
No, but I'm saying we're rolling with the exact same tight end crew that we have before.
That's right.
Like at that point, give me a guy from the draft, whether it's Ty Warren, whether it's Harold Fanning, whether it's the guy from LSU. Mason Taylor.
Mason Taylor, yep.
There's a couple other guys. The cat from Iowa who I think Lucci or whatever. Yeah. There's guys in the draft that are enough to excite me. You're telling me don't be afraid of change is what you're telling me. Yes. Don't be Garth in Wayne's World. Don't be all we fear change. Don't be that guy.
Okay.
Don't be that guy.
So
listen, if you're going to tell me that we're going to renegotiate with Juwan Johnson, then why not try and renegotiate with Taysom Hill, or why not just say, look, we're going to.
Well, Taysom, that's true. I would say that the only difference between Taysom Hill and Juwan Johnson and Chase Young is they're free agents. They are going to count this cap money. It's going to count whether they're on the team or not. And like Taysom Hill is under contract for 2025.
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of made a strong case to not sign Juwan Johnson, which you kind of sold me on that. The other guy is Chase Young. And here's the thing that perplexes me with Chase Young. He's going to count $9 million against the cap for the Saints, whether he's on the team or not. If I'd have known that the day they signed him, I probably would have been like, I don't know if this is a good idea. Like I'd rather have the $9 million out of space than what they did with Chase Young. But that's neither here nor there. But here's the thing I don't understand, Kevin. I see these rankings, these people these talking about free agents and talking about this, and they're like semi-gushing over Chase Young about how he's going to get 10, 12, 13. I saw one contract, 3 years, $41 million total for him. I don't like the Saints got him because he had no market. right? And the
Right.
Saints gave him 1 year, $10 million basically. And if he would have had any other suitors, they would have been able to outbid the Saints because we saw Atlanta do it with Justin Simmons. Like the Saints stretched themselves to the limit with Chase Young. And he had 5.5 sacks with the Saints. I know he had a lot of pressures, but it was the same. He had the same exact year with the Saints, pretty much, that he had with San Francisco the year before and Washington. Yeah. Why is he in more demand? Like, why is his market going to be way different in 2025 than it was in 2024? Like, why couldn't the Saints do a 3-year, $25 million deal with him where they guarantee 15 and lower the cap number from this year from like 9 to like 3? Like, I don't understand why his market is going to be so much better than it was last year. It's the same. He had the same season as he did in 2023.
I don't know. I guess, but he did it. He had it with a shitty team. Like he did it with a shitty team, and he didn't get that much help from the other side.
Maybe. I guess so.
I mean, I'm playing. You're asking. I'm trying to play devil's advocate to answer it. So
it'll be that. But that's one of those things, Kevin. I think it's one of those things. It's interesting, right? When we're down in this. We're down in the muck of NFL free agency, right?
The muck and the mire.
The muck and the mire. Like this is like it's like the penny stock. I don't know. It's like the penny stock. It ain't blue chips. So like these are just guesses. I think you especially your guys that you picked in the market are going to be pretty close. But I'm going to bet you one of these guys that me and you have selected for the Saints at like a bargain bin price, people are going to watch this and they're going to come back in 3-4 weeks and they're going to rip us because they're going to be like, you said that he wasn't going to get paid. And Julian Blackmon, he got 3 years, $22 million. You don't know anything. Like one of these guys is going to get paid, but I think the majority of them are legitimate targets. So,
okay. I don't, you want to tell me I don't know anything? The line forms around the block. Okay.
Here's my
what have I always? I have been nothing but honest and upfront on this pod with you, with the listeners, the viewers. I said I look at two things here. I look at numbers on a sheet, or in this case, a screen. I look at numbers on a screen, and I think vibes.
That's vibes. So that's it. So here's my question to you. We went through this list. Pick me. If I said to you, Kevin, 2 of these guys, they're going to be duds. But one of them is going to be a beautiful hit and is going to be even exceed your wildest expectations. But only one of them can do that. What position or what guy would you say, that guy, I want him to exceed expectations?
You see what that looks like here. Give me Malik Harrison. Give me the middle linebacker.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Because I think there, if you get a linebacker play, if Demario Davis like falls off a cliff in his old age, you got a replacement, right? Or maybe it can be a tandem with him. Maybe it helps solidify your run defense, that sort of thing. I'm going to go with the guard, Will Hernandez, because here's the thing. I think the Saints, it's going to make a lot of people mad, but I think cap-wise, they're going to have to keep Carr. They're going to make it work. They're going to go one more year with Carr, and they're going to do that to make it work. And if you get Will Hernandez, and if he ends up being a really solid, above average NFL guard, and you get your offensive line, and you get McCoy back, and you get these guys healthy, and you get Olave, and you get Shaheed, and you get Kamara staying healthy, like then on offense. You draft a Ty Warren, you get a Genti, maybe, I don't know. Like you could have something at least that can entertain us and be fun every Sunday on offense. So if you could solidify guard for 1 year, like 3.5 minutes, I think it could be really transformative, not for the win total for the Saints, but just in the
entertainment.
In the entertainment, it would be entertainment value. Like, I want to be able to watch the Saints and like them having a functional, good offense while they're like redoing the entire defense into the 3-4 or whatever they do with Brendan Staley, whoever it is. Like, I think that would be important. So Will Hernandez would be my selection for the open box bargain bin special that hits. Kevin, this is one of my favorite podcasts. I enjoy bargain hunting in real life. I enjoy it in make-believe football too. I'm not like an antique or a flea market guy.
Yeah,
but I do like I like going to like like Fry's, Best Buy, and like going to the open box table and see if I can like digging around, see if I can I can find a bargain. So this was fun. Saying thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you joining me. Everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. Like we said at the beginning, it helps us with the algorithm. Go to patreon.com/SaintsHappyHour. Click on the link. Get 2 months for free on the website or in the description. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for Kevin for joining us. Thanks for Thomas editing the show. Back to Poland. Thanks for you guys for listening. Until next time, the bar is closed.